Hi, church. I'm Pastor David. I'm excited to be with you week 5 here, the study of the life of David. Have you ever had that one friend in your life that it doesn't matter how long you've been apart, you can always pick up right where you left off? Maybe even complete each other's sentences. You know what I mean? They just get you. I believe that God has put certain friends in my life over the years that are like this. It's so great to have good friends that you can be open with, and as Paul says in Galatians 6:2, share each other's burdens. Proverbs 18:24 says, there are friends who destroy each other, but real friends stick closer than a brother. Real friendship takes commitment and self-sacrifice. In the story of David's life, Jonathan was a faithful friend at tremendous personal sacrifice. His love for his friend David was at a cost to his own succession to the throne. He chose to stand up for his friend against his own father, the king. The story of Jonathan and David is perhaps one of the most inspirational in the whole Bible. It jumps off the pages so dramatically, it's easy to picture it like a movie. In 1 Samuel 19, we see David as a young man serving the king that he knows he will someday replace. He's been anointed by God, but not yet anointed by the people to be king. Jonathan, as the son of the king Saul, is the traditional and logical choice to be the next king. But we see these two young men both poised to rise to tremendous power and wealth and have every reason on earth to resent each other. But Jonathan knows that God has anointed and chosen David to be king. Rather than resent David, he shows a strength and character that his father, King Saul, is sorely lacking. Rather than being enemies and fighting over power, both men honor God and find something much more valuable than power and wealth: real friendship. In 2008, I was still a relatively young father and navigating a lot of new responsibilities in life with family and career and all the stress and pressure that brings. Early in that year, I'd experienced the painful loss of a business during the financial crisis. So I was caught up in recovering financially and producing tangible material success. I was in a put my nose to the grindstone and work mode. In the midst of this, and just a few short months later, my mom passed away from a battle with cancer. This was a gut punch for me. I love my mom dearly, and she was a pillar in my life. However, in the weeks after her passing, I came to appreciate her even more. I grew up witnessing my mom's love for the Lord, watching her worship, hearing her sing, and hearing her pray and cry out to Him. I knew she loved her family unconditionally, and personally, I always knew she would do anything for me. However, what I never fully grasped about her until after she was gone was how she genuinely loved everyone and befriended everyone. During their life together, my parents had achieved great business success and financial success and had traveled the world working with business associates and colleagues. Upon my mom's passing, I was blown away at the outpouring of love towards our family from literally hundreds of people from all over the world that I had never met or ever talked to. I realized that these people were not simply business associates, but people that had also experienced the genuine love and care from my mom that I had the privilege of experiencing my whole life. They were her friends. I can honestly say that my mom was one of the best Christians I have ever known. She not only loved Jesus, but she loved like Jesus. She loved people. Realizing this about my mom was a transformational moment in my life. I realized that the friendships we build in life by loving people are really the most valuable part of our lives, and we must invest in them. You know, the thing about friendship is that it's built on common ground. Think about all the friendships you have. They all formed because you found people that are like you or share an experience with you in some way. Now, think about the life of David and Jonathan. What is God trying to show us here? What is their common ground? Well, we know that they were both in line to be king and were close to the king. The king, by the way, who bore the weight of being king so poorly that he threw spears at both of them to kill them. They saw what a bad king looked like. I believe that both young men were uniquely aware of two things. One, being king was not all that glamorous. And two, God was the one who chose who would be king, not them. You see, Saul was the very first king of Israel, and Jonathan and David both would have known stories about how God sent Samuel, the prophet, to anoint him king of Israel. The same Samuel that had already anointed David as the future king. They both understood that God was the real king and that he had chosen and anointed Saul to be king. This meant that God had a plan, and they would honor and respect that plan, no matter how crazy King Saul became. Both Jonathan and David knew authority and anointing the same way the Roman centurion did when he asked Jesus to heal his servant. Just say the word from where you are, and my servant will be healed, he said. They both knew the cost of leadership and that it was much higher than most people believed. They inherently recognized that what Jesus explained to his disciples many, many years later. You know, Jesus said, you know that the rulers in this world lord it over their people. The officials flaunt their authority over those under them, but among you it will be different. Whoever wants to be a leader among you must be your servant, and whoever wants to be first among you must be the slave of everyone else. For even the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve others and to give his life a ransom for many. The story of David's life would not have been the same without his friend Jonathan. The powerful thing about the life of Jonathan is that his desire to honor God by doing what was right was first and foremost. Jonathan honored and loved David even though he would be king and not him. Sometimes in life we may see our friends that were once maybe our peers rise to leadership or places of authority that we won't. Your friend may be your leader someday or even become your boss. If we believe that what Jesus taught about leadership, we will respond like Jonathan did, with a posture of honor for our friend and God's anointing. Because we can be assured that the real riches in life are found not in our wealth or in our position, but in the love of Jesus that we have shown towards others and the relationships we have forged through it.